Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Mario Faria with Gartner, and we are partnering with the CDO Magazine, the MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. So today I had the pleasure of talking to Gahl Berkooz, Chief Data Officer and President of Americas at Cognata. Gahl, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mario. It's great to be here.
Gahl, you have worked at GM, ZF, Ford. All those companies have a lot of people who are engineers, who are very versatile in science, math, technology per se. In your experience, how well do you think those folks in these companies understand about data and analytics?
That's a good question, and I think that a lot of leaders ask themselves, what capabilities do we need in that space? I'd like to unpack it and look at really take a step back and ask, well, what is the driver of new economic value? Okay, like what's new? Like, why do we think we can make more money? At the end of the day, companies need to make money, and so the question is, what's new that we think we can make money better than the way we used to, right? And I look at really four dimensions. The first is availability of new data. If you have new data, you potentially can have new insights. The other thing that's new is what I call computing at a new scale. What we have with edge computing, cloud computing, the communication, it drives the kind of computing we could never do before. So that's new. And then we have new algorithms, new machine learning, primarily. Analytics has always been there and always will be there, but the progress with machine learning is just mind-boggling. And then finally, the new business opportunities or efficiencies to the traditional business. So basically, you need to look at these four things together, to answer the question. And when you look at it, from the point of view of data, if you just sum it up to like how well do big companies get data, not really well understood. It's not managed as an asset. It's still, I would say, managed as an expense, and I think that, we've been talking about data as an asset, since, I don't know, 10, 12 years, we've been talking about data as an asset, and a lot of places are not there. When you actually see that the companies, especially startups that do get data as an asset, they do really, really well. So I think that's on that first dimension. I'll leave you to give them the grades, but you know what the grade is, okay? So yeah. The next thing is computing at scale. Well, at the new scale, I think that's actually well understood, because they got IT understands the cloud. They got people that know how to put electronics in cars. It's a moving space. You've got I would say people understand that. People understand how to drive, megaflops and teraflops and all that stuff. So that's good. New algorithms, I would say so. Really, I would say that there is a huge talent shortage. Okay, and I would say that when you look at how big companies work, they know how to assess talent in their core space. They know what's a good, vehicle dynamics engineer and what's not a good vehicle dynamics engineer. But how do you know what a good data scientist is? That's actually not easy. So I would say that. When it comes to being able to produce new algorithms, there's a problem. And then finally, when it comes to the business, I think that's really where I see the biggest challenge. Okay, and I think that you've heard me talk about this before, but there's really three fundamental. There's three fundamental domains. There's the product domain, where you're trying to get new products to market, enhancements to new products. There is the manufacturing process domain, which is your core business processes that you can get competitive advantage from. And you got your generic business processes like finance and HR and things like that. And each of those three domains, in my mind, requires a fundamentally different approach. We can talk about that more later. And I think that companies really don't understand that. And that's I think one of the big problems that they have.
Yeah, if you don't treat your data as an asset, it will become a liability. And also, I always like to tell the leaders that we support, data is all about bringing money, saving costs, or making sure that you're not going to break any regulation out there, how to mitigate risks. And Gahl, one of the things that really amazed me when I was working with you is about the several models that we implemented with startups, bringing the startups to work with the traditional companies. Would you mind elaborating on how you and your team did that?
Yeah. So, throughout my career, I engaged in different models, and maybe I'll give you kind of an overview of that, so you understand how we ended up on this latest work that I did at ZF. When I was at Ford, we were a central function, called Information Management and Analytics. The unique thing about the way we operated, we were completely business funded. Okay, so we had to upfront get the business case for everything we did, including that big project that I mentioned, which had tremendous returns to Ford. And I think that the fact that we were central gave us the ability to work around the enterprise, and the fact that we were business funded assured the upfront business focus. And I think that that's what was the success there. When I was at General Motors, I was running the analytics for the OnStar division called the GCCX at the time. And again, the project was all business funded to deliver very specific outcomes in the area of individualized customer incentives and things like that. I think again that was a key to success: the upfront, business funding, which drives the relevance and the connection and the expectations and the joint objectives. And at ZF, the problem was different because we went through different phases of hub and spoke, and what we realized is that if we want to bring new products to market, we need to be able to act like a startup, okay? And the reason, because if you look at who is successful at bringing new products to market, it's basically startups, digital products, database products. It's all startups or companies that are close enough to the startup mentality, or companies that in fact have a lot of internal startups, which is what you see in places like Amazon, for example, And so it was a question of how do we create that kind of model in ZF, and that we were very, very successful with this data venture accelerator. We brought an impressive number of new customers to ZF during our first year. We brought an impressive revenue number the first year. We got a strong partnership with Microsoft going. We have 4 applications that we created in the Data Venture Accelerator on the Microsoft Marketplace. We got very good engagement from the divisions, and that's all because we were able to put together this startup-like model. And when you say, well, what is the essence of this startup-like model? And why is it important inside a big company? I would say there's really 2 things, and that's really kind of a distillation. And what I'll tell you now is a distillation of I would say my key experiences. When you have a large company trying to bring a new product to market, the traditional process, you have annual planning cycles. You have I do this and you do that. It takes a long time, and the accountability is very diffused. And what we've done is we basically, with this model that we had a single point of accountability, which is at the operational level, and the time from market input to product direction change is weeks, not years. And with that, we're able to get the results that we're able to get. Okay. So I think that again, but that's in the domain of new products or enhancements or digital data enhancements to products. So in that domain, you do have to be like a startup.
Just to summarize, we've talked to Gahl Berkooz, Chief Data Officer and President of Americas at Cognata, about his journey, how he has been adopting the CXO 5.0 operating model. Thank you, Gahl, for joining me today in this conversation. And please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mario.